cold at the touch, dead in the eyes, no signs of life no more. I put your love under the knife. Leave me to die here all alone. No signs of life no more, no. A crying dove may never fly. Black and white. Yeah. Black and white. Oh, 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 oh. Just black and white. No more. White, no more, baby. Love, no more, baby. Just black and white, just let me go. It's only right. For all I know, it's only matter. It's calico, it's black and white. White, white, white. Just let me go, it's only right. For all I know, it's only matter. It's calico, it's black and white. White, white, white.
Make me feel well, oh, I can't break the spell. I just have to be true.
Black and white. Yeah. Black and white. Oh, 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 oh. Just black and white. Black and white.
Good evening, ladies. Good evening, gentlemen. Welcome to Simracersworld TV for round 4 of the SRW NASCAR Cup Series. It's the Simmortal Phoenix 170. My name is Hasse Rømer. I'm joined by Markus Gjesdal. It is the Scandinavian dynamic duo here in the booth for what might just be the most technical track, at least so far this season. Tightly contested with Bristol that we're visiting later on, of course. We'll see just how the drivers fare on tonight. We were discussing this beforehand, Markus, and expecting quite a few caution periods, maybe as opposed to last week, where we had a very clean race indeed in that regard. I think it's going to be a spectacle tonight.
Unfortunately, I was at a different place in iRacing last week when you were here with Joe Peak at Las Vegas. But I heard some stuff from you, and I'm seeing in the commentary field here as well, YouTube. It was a severe caution round last week, so I'm hopeful. It's a 1.6 kilometer long track here at Phoenix International Raceway, which is it's a technical track, indeed. We'll see. There's a few different grooves here that drivers can choose from, and the banking is although it's a little smaller than some of the other tracks we're going to, especially Bristol, which is next week. I think it's not that technical. I think it's a driver's track, but I don't think it's going to be the track's fault if we have too many cautions tonight.
Well, we're going to see about that, Markus, whether your prophecy shall come true or not. And with that said, let us take a quick glance at the championship standings indeed, because they're very, very close. At the top now, Hendrik de Grave, who's at 130 points, a single win to his name, ahead of Tim Perry, though Tim Perry missing this round and next week at Bristol as well. So that's worth taking into mind, and we spoke to Tim about this at some point. He is indeed well knowing that it's going to be difficult for him in the overall standings. Matty Sufi third there, just 2 points off the leader. Ian Roots fourth, very, very much in with the shot as well as Kim Behade. I should probably mention in there as well. So all of the top 5 drivers basically still in with a shout here. And it's going to be a fantastic fight, I think, throughout this season. It's been a very open series so far as well. We're going to see just how the racing pans out. We glance further down the standings. Of course, we do also have a team championship to have a look at. And that's something that's going to appear on your screen momentarily in a short second, courtesy of Bart Daleman, who's made these wonderful graphics. Flemish Sim Sports, there you see it, leading by 21 points over Quantum, and then a good bit of a lead over Boosted as well. So those top 3 places... Well, should I say Simracersworld Esports Bravo, who's actually tied for 3rd at the moment. But it could indeed also be a fight between these 4 teams for the overall title in the team's standings. And just for a look at the bottom end of that stuff as well. And with that said, Markus, I think it's very much time for us to go to live pictures. We have the warm-up period happening right about now. And we've had qualifying as well, and why don't you take us through the results of what happened there?
In qualifying, well, it would be easy if we get a result list, which you have supplied me with here now tonight, Hasse, and it's John Barnes, the Breton, which is taking pole at Phoenix International Raceway with Austin Gretorix right behind him. Then we have Sebastian Herber, Adam Wright, Hendrik de Graaf, and Kim Behit. Is Fredericks, Matthias Stoffy, and John Testing in the last few spots there, before we have Iron Roots rooting off top 10 in this tonight's standing. The last 5 drivers of tonight is James Hall, Michael Tyler, Max Spooner, and Simon Venus, followed by Paul Gosling, Stuart Musselwhite, and Leven Up D. And actually, there's a few other drivers who's signed up for this race while we were watching qualifying. It was 15 before we started the broadcast, and 17 now, as we're just 4 minutes and 40 seconds away from the race start.
Yeah, indeed. Let's see, we're 4 minutes left, and that gives us plenty of time to delve into the realms of sim racing religion, and as such, indeed, we shall have a prayer tonight for, I think we shall need it indeed. Our Father, thou who art inside our PCs, give us today a steady internet connection and no blinkers, so we shall have the best possibilities of making it around this technical tri-oval. Without is the triple screens and the ultra wides, the VR headsets, and the screaming V8 motors in heaven.
Where's the national anthem?
Oh, we need an SRW national anthem.
Yeah. Either that or we
do
could
have a. I could sing the like. If I start singing the American national anthem, Marcus, it's gonna end up like Borat singing the national anthem. And if any of you have seen that scene, it's it actually makes me giggle just thinking about it. It is.
We should have. We should pay Joe Peak to sing the national anthem of the United States, and then actually, what we should do, every pole sitter in warm-up should come in and sing their national anthem. Because if they're on pole, they're already fast enough, so they don't need that extra practice. That should be the handicap.
Yeah, well, that would be a good reason not to get on pole position, Ramen. That's good, Sip. And a very warm welcome to you, everyone. Thanks for tuning in with us here, early comers here, and just a few minutes before we get the green flag running. Perfect time for me to say a little word about our sponsor for tonight, Simmortal Models. You can have a look at their Facebook page. There's a link in the description. Maker of bespoke, custom liveried models, which means in the sense that if you have a race car where you think a model race car, so 1 to 24, 1 to 18, whatever it is, you can ship it into Simmortal. They'll paint it in the livery of your choice, so you can have in whatever real-life livery you want, but you basically also have your sim car, which is what they really specialize in, making the car of your sim racing dreams something real all of a sudden that can sit there next to the rig. Look very nice indeed. It certainly made me think about the first 3-4 cars I'd like to have with a Team Simpact livery on it. Because... nice one. Anyways, go check them out. Links in the description. And thanks to Simmortal, of course, for sponsoring tonight's round of the SRW NASCAR Cup Series. Expectations are high on our side as well. And I really think we're gonna be in for a show tonight. I think it's either or. This could be an excellent race indeed, but it could also come down to a caution period or two too many here. What's your take on that one?
We're definitely going to see a caution tonight. The question is how many. That is something we'll get the answer on, I think, by the end of tonight. Also, I'm noticing the cones here in the middle of turn 2, which is now turn 1. In real life, since they changed the track layout, which is such a NASCAR thing to do. Just change everything up once people have gotten to comfortable with things. Just change things up. Luckily, it hasn't been the case in iRacing as of right now. So these cones here, which you can see, if I'm not completely mistaken, that's going to indicate where the track is. Because of on this layout, Hasse, you have two different layouts you can run. You can run with the dogleg and you can run without the dogleg. Without the dogleg is the IndyCar configuration usually. Is that you come off turn 1 and you don't cut across the straightaway here. So if you look now from Matteo Sofi's onboard view, all this track area here, all the way down into the white barrier, you can use that track without the dogleg. I'm sorry, with the dogleg. But for tonight, we ain't gonna see people go all the way down to the barrier, since if they do, there's gonna be a slowdown penalty.
That's an interesting one, because I read about said dogleg, but I wasn't quite sure what it exactly was, so thanks for pointing out for that. For me, indeed. And with that, it's the end of warm-up. It's now time for a final look at the grid order, indeed. As Marcus said before, it's John Barnes ahead of Austin Greaterix, Seb Herbera, Adam Wright, Hendrik de Grave, and Kim Behate, the two Flemish cars side by side on row 3. Then Yves Fredericks and Matty Sufi, John Tusting in routes, James Hall, and Michael Tyler, I'm sorry. I was just about to say James Tyler, but luckily that was closer to a slip, but nothing more. Max Spooner 13th ahead of Simon Venus, then Paul Gosling, Stuart Musselwhite, and leaving up the beak in the 5-6-5 machine, rounding off the field. Indeed, as the cars are lining up, here this time around they line up in the pit lane, and that's actually something I like seeing quite a lot here in the NASCAR series. There's so much variation to the starts, you know, and some of the even shorter ovals have like what's basically more reminiscent of an old school Le Mans style as well. And it not that it really changes things that much, but I think as a commentator, as someone who spectates more races than I race myself these days, it's nice to have something just to change it up. And on the subject of doing just that, sorry Marcus, I cut across that there's another something. The keen-eyed viewer will have noticed that it's not the the Toyota pace truck that we're running with tonight, but indeed what looks to be a, now I'm not too keen on American cars though, but is that a Dodge Charger or what is that? I'm not actually quite sure. Someone surely is able to tell me what.
Oh, I can tell you right now if you want me to.
Yeah, go ahead.
That's Kia Ultima GT Sport plus minus negative. It's a fantasy car, Hasse. Sorry. So it's something iRacing created. But we're gonna get the green right now.
We're green here from Phoenix indeed, and it's John Barnes having taken the lead from pole position, having gone early there. Seb Hebra side by side for a short moment with Adam Wright, but they've come to a conclusion that it's probably best to stay in line here for the opening part of the race. So far, it seems everybody agreed that that is indeed the terms that we are running under at the moment. Of course, with something as different as this is to the faster tracks that we've been at so far this season, it's going to be something to get used to. We've seen drivers putting in a lot of laps and practice as well, and it seems to have paid off. John Barnes, though, storming away, but this is one to really watch, because an early push here could see your tires fall off a lot more than what we've seen on other tracks. And at least this is what we saw last season when we visited the tighter, more technical tracks here. Adam Wright on the tail here of Seb Hebra in the battle for third place, and he's going to the inside there early. And Hebra is not really going to fight it too much, is he? Adam Wright moves up a position in the 27 car.
Yeah, the point about tires, Hasse, is a great point, because at road courses normally you have all the corners that you have. Okay, so you can push as hard as you want usually. Sometimes maybe you have to lay off a little bit in some of the heaviest braking zones. While on an oval, which is probably the biggest difference between a normal traditional road course and an oval, is that the track is never going to change. Or, well, I mean, you can get a few different grooves, but the track in corners is going to be the same just about every time. And you have a few options when you start an oval race. Is that you can go in hard and fast and push as hard as you can in the opening laps and try and get as many meters on your competitors as possible. If you had a bad qualifying, that's probably your chance on fresh tires to start making moves and setting yourself up in position. The problem starts happening when you push too hard. So sometimes it's better to lay off a little bit, lose a few positions, rather than to go up there and push, unless you know you'll be able to manage the tires perfectly throughout the race.
And that's a very good point indeed, and that's also what we saw our reigning champ, Sergio Hernandez. He's so excellent at hitting the pace of the top drivers, but being able to just conserve the tires to have that little bit extra to push with. You could see how he was strong at that. Now, Austin Greatorex taking all the track there, going down to the tires, and you can see the two gorgeous Quantum cars here really pushing along, with Adam Wright doing all he can to stay with him as well. And then Seb Hebra in the 211, you can see there's a little bit of a gap there.
Are slow there. That is the 37 of Max Spooner. Something's happened to him then.
I think he started from the pit lane, Marcus, and that's the reason he's now being caught and lapped already.
Start from the pit lane, but it's very slow still coming out of the corners here. So is that a reason? Is there a reason for that, or?
Not anything I can see. He's jumped to the pits under gridding. So there could have been some issue, some technical issue on his hardware side. That's probably going to be the... Oh, look at this side-by-side action here as Hendrik de Grave gets company from Matty Sufi, and Matty Sufi says thank you very much and takes that position away from his fellow countrymen, the two Belgians here. Look at that. A nicely measured overtake. And one thing you can say about this, it might be relatively tight here in terms of the cornering speed, but the track at the same time is quite wide as well, and as such there will be places or space as well to trade places with one another, as opposed to some of the more narrow ovals that we also have on the calendar.
Even though the track is wide, I don't think we're going to get multi-groove racing tonight. There's only one real line you can use here, which is going to be the fast and optimal line through the corners, and I don't think you're going to get any advantage from doing what we're seeing the leader doing right now, pushing really, really wide on the exit of 1. Look at the distance now from Austin to our leader, John Barnes, is shrinked tremendously, and he's going to have another shot here coming into turn 3 as well. So if he keeps running this wide line, I don't think that's going to help his tires or his race anything at all.
Have to see just how it goes. So far, the top 3 seems relatively content with it here. Kim Behate has gone past as well here. Let's see how he managed to get the better on. Something, I think, is going on as well further down as John Tusting. What a tutters away there. Yeah, indeed, it's up here ahead, and it's all happening around Herber as the other Flemish car goes up the inside. That's the Grave.
Yeah, I think we're already starting to see some tire wear now tonight. It has a lap 12, and there's some touching there as well on the main straightaway.
Touchy on the main straightaway, indeed, just side-by-side contact, trading paints, and a little bit of the wiggle from the 87 car, but no more than that. And that's gonna be the look at this here. Exiting.
It's got too tight for these two.
Oh.
And the irony with this, Hasse, is that before the broadcast started, I asked in the YouTube chat field if there was any chance or any odds on getting a zero caution race, and Seb Herber, who was involved in that, told us it's not a chance to get a caution-free race, and I think he's showing us why.
Yeah, indeed. I will have to see so far. I have to say as well that the drivers have done a brilliant job of keeping it very, very clean. Except for those minuscule contacts. Eve Fredericks here is on the inside. It's Paul Gosling.
Why they're the 5.
Paul Gosling, the privateer. I own a very similar pair of sunglasses, although Paul's might be the real deal, while mine certainly aren't. Let's just be straight about that. Anyway, Paul Gosling, I think, manages to keep the position for now, at least. Up ahead, it's still the trio from before, now extending the gap. It's up to around 4 seconds. It's Behate, Sufi, and Hebera, with the Bergave, who's just about joining them as well here. James Hall's on the outside of Ian Roots, who's just gone through in the 194. Doing well for himself. And as we say that, there's a swap for position here as Adam Wright takes the long way around on Austin Greatorex. Is that gonna work out? I'm not quite sure, as they're still too wide. We'll get the run here.
Oh, there's a car slow there as well, the 8. That's Spooner. No, it's not. It's Simon Venus, which is not going to lose a lap here.
Oh.
Ow! That was not what Wright wanted there at all. Almost pushed him into the wall there. But he's still outside here, so maybe if he can get a good run throughout the last corner, he could get a little advantage coming into the first turn and maybe cut down. Oh, there's going to be some touching here coming into turn 1 as well. With the exit, is that going to be enough, Hasse? I'm sorry for cutting you off.
No problem.
It's going to be. So he's in front now, and he's now putting the chase up to Barnes unless Greatorex wants to do anything with it. Problems for Hall, I think.
Yeah, something's going on, but you said it before. It could just be the tire wear we're seeing here. John Barnes, the man from Manchester, chased by Adam Wright, who did take that position on Austin Greatorex. That was a long battle indeed.
Caution.
And we have the
Fredericks is out.
Indeed. Oh, and it's been
a huge one.
Been a major one indeed. Let's see here.
Let's hit the wall on the outside.
Oh, and cut the 18. That's Stuart Musselwhite involved as well. And that has indeed given us our first caution period, rightfully so, I have to say. Let's see if we can get a better look at what happened there.
That's just what that looks like to me. It looks like a little bit of inexperience from Eve's part with the tires and how the corner comes up to you when you are about to exit turn 4 at this track. A lot of corners or a lot of tracks like Charlotte as well is very tough sometimes to judge the speed which you're going to be exiting the corner from, and he already had a very, very high line. He tried to get off it, and yeah, he would have been fine nudging the wall like that. He would have had a lot of right side damage from it, but the I don't think he really saw for himself having the 18 as well on his inside at the time he hit the wall, and so unfortunate then for both of them, which is going to have a much harder race for the rest of this 170 miles.
Well, indeed, and mind you, of course, this season we do not have fast repairs, so that's going to be even more trouble, as I think 8 car gets the lucky dog. That's Simon Van Oosum can rejoin the pack at the back of the field. Now I'm wondering, because the pit lane would probably have been closed off until this lap, and it looks to me that a lot of the field might be preparing to take their first stop about now here, coming on to lap 20. Do not know just how much of an advantage there actually is to be gained, but at least we see, I think, a few cars breaking in.
That's one of the I think that was Eve's actually. I think pit lane still is closed for this group. Not entirely sure. I didn't see the light there on the entrance of pit road, but it could be that these guys want to, because they have a selected set of tires. They don't have unlimited sets of tires they can use, which is what was usual for NASCAR a while back. So they have to conserve a little bit and try and use what they have until they have to change it to try and have maybe more tires left for the end of the race, which could be more critical. Say it comes out what is it called? The overtime roof that comes out, and say half the field pits because they have one more spare set of tires, and you can't pit because you don't have any tires. You put a massive disadvantage, and I think for now, if you really want to try and focus on trying to gamble and win this race, you conserve as much as you can, even now when these early cautions come out.
A very good point indeed, and they do have four sets of tires available. I think that includes the set they start on, or doesn't it? Actually, a good question. Not quite sure.
So that makes it 3 tires then. They can use 3 tires after the start of the race, or is that completely off?
Yeah, I think that's it. 3 sets of tires.
Yeah.
Which also would explain why no one's choosing to come in this early, because it simply wouldn't make sense. You'd have to stretch it too long later in the race for it to make sense. Now, the pace car will have lights turned off as per tradition. You know what that means. We're going to swing over to Markus Gjesdal for the end of the first caution periods of this Simmortal Phoenix 170.
Yeah. So we're just waiting for this Kia Optima plus minus Samsung S4 to pull off the track, and the marshals and race control has cleared the track. Pits are closed, and this field is now ready to go out racing again. 12 laps was the distance we managed to get to before this first caution came out. Hopefully we're going to get double that, plus maybe a little few more laps. And now it's time to go racing as Barnes take them over the line again, and he jumped to start quite a bit there, long ways before the green flag, and that's going to be okay for this field. As long as you don't pass the leader, you can pass as many cars as you want, unless you pass them on the inside, which is what Austin Pretorix did at Homestead, and cost him a penalty and a chance at winning the race. And I think he's learned a little bit since those 2 weeks ago.
Yeah,
so
indeed.
We have the rest of the field here. Hasse.
Very good point. You want to make sure not to ruin your race by those silly small mistakes. You also got to say, at a track like this, all it takes is indeed a small mistake. Very good start there for the Flemish cars, now up into 5th and 6th position. They've, especially Matty Sufi as well, he's climbed 4 places already this race. Done very well for himself. But it seems to be a little bit of the same picture though, with Sufi trying to tag along to the leading trio, making that into a quartet, and then a slight gap, 1/6 of a second, to the Flemish cars. Heading up a grand train, you could say, almost a centipede of screaming V8 machines.
See as well, the night is starting to set a little bit, which is going to be an advantage for these drivers with a little cooler track temperatures.
Oh.
Also, positive things with these ovals here in America is that most of them have night lighting, so I think it gives a better atmosphere than daylight race, honestly.
Absolutely. Back up with the...
Done.
Yeah. We decided to quiet it up there.
Yeah. I mean, it's good. We were talking about the same thing, which is this 777 car now, which is still in control of the field. Quite a big gap that he left to himself at the restart here, and I think he is going to be put a lot of pressure on him from right.
John Barnes seemed to be the one who also took the more, say, the wider lines, the smoother lines, as he's doing here as well. I think he's doing quite well to conserve his rubber, and just see how that leaves him later in the race. Still a relatively tight wound field, a bit of a gap here appearing after Paul Gosling. The Michael Tyler and James Hall behind him. And as well, they're behind Matty Sufi, who's hanging on here. It's Kim Behaid and the Flemish cars on a hunt for points. Gun Tusting moving up through the field as well, doing well. He's up into 7th place. But you can really see, Marcus, you said there's only one line here. That doesn't really seem to be the case necessarily. Obviously, there's maybe not 2 entire lines throughout the corners all the way through that are equally fast, although we have seen it possible to go around the outside as well. But we see some of the drivers sticking much more to the inside line and the apex of the corners, while other drivers let the car swerve wide another degree, make use of more of the track. Now, I'm not to call or to say which is going to be the best, but the race is probably going to give us some answers as it goes on. We're on lap 31 here of the 170 that we have to go.
I think you're right with that, but I don't think there's several lines you can use that has the optimal lap times that you can get out of the tires in the car. I think if you want to get the pace out of the car, there's one ideal lap time or one ideal line, and we can see that from Austin Gretorix, which had a much shallower line into turn 3. He's actually managed to get all the way up on the quarter panel to 27 here now.
But he doesn't really manage to get his nose in more than just a little bit there on Adam Wright, who just stays high on the track and manages to squeeze the power out of the car a lot earlier than Gretorix was able to do. And I think, Marcus, I've heard the other commentators here pronounce it Gretorix. Gretorix. I'm not quite sure what it is, so if you know, as well in chat, please let us know, because I'm still unsure. It's not. It's like my last name, even in Denmark. It's not one you stumble upon every day. So Rømer, yeah. And good luck. Ian Roots, as we're watching the boss man himself having a big old wiggle there. And that must have scared Paul Gosling as well, although he looks cool as a cucumber though on the picture. A scary moment for Ian Roots, experienced man, to catch it and keep it there. He's going to try and cool down his tires. Just let Paul Gosling straight on through. Someone's exiting the... No, someone's not exiting the pit lane. Someone's entering the pits, though.
It's Beerus, I think.
Yeah. Well called.
If I can just call what we were talking about before Ian Brutes almost stuffed it into the wall here, Hasse. Austin, if you're watching this, a phonetical explanation of how to pronounce your last name, a PM to me and Hasse, that would be great.
Yeah, and much appreciated. Just to settle it once and for all there, the decisive man. The 13 car from Northampton. One of my favorite drivers to watch so far this series. He's really brought racing in. A man who dares to take a chance. And also seems to grow into this oval racing. There he gets the nose in on Adam Wright. And this time he's going to have the advantage, I think. Or maybe not, as it's all of a sudden advantage Adam Wright with the slipstream there. This time around he stays in and we're gonna have another long battle here, it seems.
I think Barnes is really smiling from seeing this fight in his mirrors, because these guys are now increasing the distance a lot to our leader, which has led this race since the start. That needs to be mentioned. As we ride on board now on Matteo Sophie's Ford Mustang. This is the future car of NASCAR, which will debut in 2022. So it got a little bit of a leap in our racing before that, as marketing reasons or PR reasons. Actually, I think it was used first in an invitational race on iRacing's own website. For NASCAR to kind of showcase this car and what it would look like when they get on track in February 2022. They've done a few testings with this car already, and I can't remember quite which driver it was that said this, but it's a good point. It's not as accurate as you would have probably hoped for a fantasy car or a car like this, but once these drivers get these cars out in real life and on tracks, they might get a few or a bit more data on how this car handles, and it might handle more realistically, as we have a very close call between the 27 and the 13.
Look at this long side-by-side action just continuing from Gretorix and Adam Wright. And Adam Wright manages to get the run. There's a slight drift from the 13. Stays in it though. And then Wright insisting, getting the run on the outside, picking up the pace. Of course, if Gretorix had the space to accelerate out into it, probably be able to go quicker, having go down the shallow line there. Anyway, back to live pictures. As these two are still going in, and it's just like a deja vu from a second ago. As again, it's Gretorix on the inside. Again, Adam Wide on the high side. Again, Adam Wright. Adam Wide. It could indeed be. But not in a bad way, as you say. Wide on a road circuit. That's obviously almost never good. When someone's going rather slowly here as well. That's John Tusting. Ian Roots checking up. A bit of action happening here, as I think tires are really beginning to fall off here. Lap 42. That's because my microphone is in just where the lap counter is, and I'm trying not to move my head too much because then it would sound weird. So my apologies, but indeed, we're on to lap 43. Of course, under 30 seconds a lap here, so it does indeed tick down quickly. We have these extended green flag periods. Barnes still leading. And now, as you said before, Marcus, that's very correct indeed. He was just smiling from ear to ear, I think, to see the battling going on behind. Because the distance is up to 1.2 seconds here to Adam Wright, who's at least for now managed to put a little bit of time between himself and Austin Gretorix.
You made a great point at Homestead, Hasse, with tire conservation. As you can see, Adam Wright there killing a few cones. But I was wondering, because these guys were fighting so hard for the last few laps now, exchanging positions back and forth all the time. And what you said about Homestead is that when you start fighting like that and you start running the bottom line and stress the tires as much as you do, you're starting to overheat them, which makes it a lot harder to maintain wear rates and manage the tire and manage your lines, and your lap times immediately start getting longer. And I think that's what's maybe happen between Wright and Gretorix, because I think with the amount of fighting they did and how hard they started running their cars, I think they might have fallen off the tires a lot more now than the John Barnes in the lead at the moment.
Yeah, and you can see as Ian Roots had a bit of a moment before, he immediately backed off. Oh, the Graven with a big moment for himself.
I think he was heading for the pits there.
And then, oh, that's going to be a costly late redecision there, or a decision not to go in there. But Roots picked up the pace after he had that small incident. But he lent himself the time to let the tires cool down. That's what I probably meant to say. As it seems the right thing to do as well, although it does require patience and experience and the ability to let off and drive a few laps well off the limit here. Somebody who's still on the limit, Adam Wright. You can see Gretorix, who's on the tail of Adam Wright again, and he's going to try up the inside once more, and this time it seems it's a done deal, but the car's starting to wash up wide there, Marcus. Nearing lap 150 as we're closing in on the completion of the first third of the race, that is, and expect the tires to make a bigger and bigger impact on the rest of this race.
It's a good job from Austin to keep his head cool in that fight. He's obviously faster than Adam Wright and has worked so hard now on catching him, as I turn into pig for a few seconds there. He's worked so hard on catching him and getting past him, and if he now made it stick, he's going to start... I'm not sure what kind of orders and what kind of tactics these guys have right now, but Austin is his teammate is leading this race, but he definitely has the pace to win this if he really wants to put in the hard work now.
There's also the point that I think everyone's trying to stretch their tires for as long as possible, and nobody wants to get caught out doing a green flag pit stop. Should we then risk the situation of getting a caution period just as this happens? There was a cut to underneath.
That was really close.
Was very close indeed. That's some of the cars who pitted in earlier.
I'm going in now as well. 5 going in. So I think we're starting to see our first green flag stops for tonight.
Yeah.
211 as well with Seb Herbert.
That seems to be the case indeed. Herbert, you can see in pit lane, one of the last booths, expected to be the orange one. Indeed it is. Just where he's gonna come out, well, that's a good question.
2 right sides, and there's the left sides. And he's revving up and he's ready to go. And he's going to join in the middle of this pack. Maybe he's going to get caught up by the leaders. Maybe not. In Roots. And 5th is past him now. And the 999 as well is going to work against him. But now, Seb, if he gets a little bit of a spot now in clear air, he might be able to really push it. And no, it's not. It's going to wreck it. Coming out of the track, and it's going to put out a caution here for Seb Herbert, which gets out on the track with cold tires and immediately bins it. And causes our second caution for tonight. Look at this again. Sends it into the last corner here, Hasse. Barely gets up into the rear of the 999 of John Tusting. And he completely goes Formula Drift here, Seb Herbert.
Indeed. Although, you could argue that that's the iRacing stewards being a little quick on the trigger there with the caution period. I say we could have done without that one, even though it's, of course, going to be a limiting factor on the damage for Seb Herbert in this situation.
Reese Frederick's car hasn't looked so good tonight either. It's missing the entire front splitter and everything else. It's driving basically with half a car right now.
Yeah, more or less, and it's a result of the hard impact that he had with one of the other cars. And this time around, Herbert is gonna get hit really hard by this one. That much is certain. He gets shipped to the back of the pack. Even he wasn't already with a bit of a spin that he had here. So basically, all the drivers into the pits right now. Kim Behate was in on lap 46. That's 8 laps ago, from what I can make of it at the moment.
Also, it's worth mentioning that none of these cars have pit limiters as well when they get into the pit, so they have to manage that speed as well by themselves manually when they enter the pits. And if they go a little bit too fast, that's an end of the line penalty, and you're going to have to start at the back of the pack.
What was that? Sophie with a quick pit stop. Not as quick as Adam Wright, though, who I think... Oh, my apologies. The 2 Quantum cars were out ahead there. All of a sudden, they had taken off before I even saw it. So, status quo at the head of the field there. Ian Roots up into 5th place here. Done a very, very good opening stint. And Tusting, Behate, Tyler Hall, and leaving up the bake. Range with Demons team displaying. They'll C2 getting fixed. Anyways, of course, the caution period's also a good time for you to hop on over to our sponsor for tonight's page and check out what Simmortal has to offer to immortalize your sim racing. Yes, I just thought that up. Get me a job in the advertising business, just like Murray Walker used to do, actually. Not comparing myself, anyway. Just to... Anyway, enough of that, and back to the caution periods. Our second of tonight, we're on lap 55, Marcus. This is this along the lines of what you expected, or is it more or less, or how do you see this planning out from here as well?
I think we've had less chaos and less cautions than we probably expected in the first half of this race. I think we'll just have to wait and see how this whole plan pans out. We've had 2 cautions now in the first 40 laps, and all of the drivers have gone in and put on fresh tires on this on these cars as well. You can see our caution starter got a wave around here, and Ian Roots almost runs into the back of Adam Wright. So I think there's tension here in the field. I think everyone wants to start getting going again and fight for these positions on track rather than getting them under safety car.
Yeah, indeed, and it's a late time to get that wave around as well. You have to say the drivers who got that wave around, they're hardly going to have the time to get onto the back of the field before they get onto green flag action again. Yet again, it's John Barnes who's going to be the man setting them off in a short moment of time, and yet again he goes early. And Greater X on the outside isn't really challenged, but look at Sophie there who gets the send and the run as well on Adam Wright. I think Sophie might have gone a little too quickly into the corner, gone a little too far up the banking.
Oh, Spooner is out, I think.
Indeed, Max Spooner's had an issue here. Oh, and he hits the wall.
And he's lucky that he's alone here, else that would have been our 3rd caution. And if you clear that car, still sitting there, is that going to be... Nope, he's out of the track now. The Spooner is out of this race, surely. And we're staying green, as there was no cars around him at the time that he stood stationary on track. Which is the rule for iRacing, the simulator to put out a caution is when a car is stationary on the track surface. That's what causes a caution, not really a crash anywhere. The simulator doesn't notice that or acknowledge that. It just notices when a car is stuck on the racing surface. So if you have a car, for example right here, stuck under the yellow line, away from the racing track, you can stay parked there for the rest of the race. It won't matter, it won't cause a caution, but having that car stand or stationary on the racing surface, that's going to cause a caution, which is why we're still on the green. He's about to get lapped as well, I think, Max Spooner. So he's still in this race, even though he had a huge shunt. Or is that James Hall, maybe, which we're seeing? No, that's not the 37 I thought first. We're now following the 68 of Hall, as he's making the pass on living up the back. Paul Gosling with fresh tires as well, challenging the 87 of Hendrik de Graaf for our championship leader coming into this round here by 1 point.
And that's a very good point, and just a very good indicator of just how open this series is as well. De Graaf, who's done so well for himself over the opening rounds here, seemingly in a spot of bother here, down in 11th place. But then again, everything can happen in a race like this. And look at Adam Wright, who's now challenging for 2nd place and having a bit of a slidey moment there. They're all now bunching up behind John Barnes, trying to get to him, trying to get past as well, maybe. They reckon it's the time here as they have the fresh tires to try something. And Matty Sufi still just hanging out there in the 64 car in 4th place. I think, Marcus, that he's just biding his time, staying patient, staying safe, making sure that he's not making any mistakes, trying to play the chess game in it and then bring himself in a good position to come into the final 25-30 laps here. Gonna be where all the really decisive action, I think, is gonna happen.
Not sure what his tactic is, but it's a good gamble, or good guess, I should say. He doesn't need to use up stuff now. Oh, that got really tight.
Oh,
and tighter because they're going to wreck each other, and that's going to be fine, maybe. Yeah, both of them saved it.
Oh,
37 though.
Please
oh, no,
save it. No, it didn't. That's going to be a caution indeed.
A huge incident. I think he spotted right in front of one of the other cars. Is that Hendrik? Oh, that was barely Hendrik. I think the 5 of Paul Gosling got a piece of that.
Yeah.
Maybe not. His car is fine.
Was that Spooner again?
Yeah, that was Spooner.
Max Spooner was had an abysmal few minutes. There it is. Oh, and he comes across. Oh, that's a very narrow miss.
Oh, he
and
did get one, though.
Eve Fredericks, who's already had the front of his car damaged once tonight, gets a hit in the very, very same place that he's encountered before. That is very unlucky indeed.
He's left with a quarter of a car now after that.
Let's see here. So that was the incident before. That's interesting. And that is our 3rd caution period tonight. This one's gonna bunch the field up quite a bit more than the last one did indeed. And this time, we're about to delve into some facts. Because, of course, we don't have Jack Oliphant to do other facts, but we can still do facts. So, I'm gonna do that. Phoenix Raceway, as it's called. It was called the ISM Raceway from 2018 to January 2020. It's called Fast Track International Speedway, as well as Jeff Gordon Raceway. Just on one night, November 15th, 2015. Of course.
Do you know what that was for, though, Hasse?
No, I do not.
So Jeff Gordon he was going to retire in 2015, and Jeff Gordon is an international figure, even though he's probably biggest in the States, where NASCAR is home brewed. Jeff Gordon wanted to retire in 2015 after almost actually got into shot with the 2014 title there, and as a tribute to Jeff Gordon, the arrangers of PIR wanted to give a tribute then and name the track after him for that one race.
That's pretty cool indeed, and a fitting tribute to one of the all-time greats of NASCAR indeed, Jeff Gordon. His legendary number 24. Anyway, Phoenix Raceway built and opened in 1964 and around the hills of Phoenix, Arizona. Track situated in a small town called Avondale, and it's very much in the hills and mountains, which is actually the reason it has this kind of a little bit of a peculiar shape to it that's different from everything else you see in NASCAR. So it's not really a choice down to the track designers as such to make the track as it is. It's more of just, well, they chose to place the track where they put it. The landscape is as it is, and that was all they could do with it.
Track has gone through a lot of changes as well since the opening of 1964. As most of you probably recognize, there's a lot of asphalt there into turn 2, where the dogleg is. You can see it here on the top of the screen here on the overview, which Hasse has put up for us now. And it's not too far you have to go. 10, 11 years ago, they all of this was grass, basically. So it made the track even narrower than what it is tonight and today. And I think now with the new configuration, it opens for a lot more spectacle, especially with when you can run the dogleg as well, which is not a configuration we can use tonight. But it's an unusual configuration for the NASCAR series when they come racing here in real life. So, but now, Hasse, you're about to take us for the next restart of tonight.
Very much so. Looking to get back under green flag again, and hope, pray maybe even, that caution does not breed caution this time around, and it's John Barnes going early this time around. I feel Greaterix would maybe have smelt the sausage cooking in the kitchen, but he hasn't really woken up to it yet. He's had his cup of coffee, but it wasn't quite enough there. Ian Roots is going to have to defend from John Tusting, scraping the wall and wanting to squeeze Roots towards the inside. And while he's not really having any of it freely there, it's quite the struggle to get past on Ian Roots, but he manages to do so just there, John Tusting. From there on, it seems we've had a clean start here. Kim Behaid and Hendrik de Graave, the two Flemish cars, have lost some positions. And they've surely got some ground to make up before the end of this race. We've got just under 100 laps left to do here tonight. It is indeed quickly ticking on. Been a good race so far. But one of these races where you can really feel that even though it is a race happening for 170 laps, it is basically trying to place yourself well for the final, get there safely as well. And we've seen it before. It's the deeper intricacies of what oval racing in NASCAR as well really is. Of course, this isn't the case on every track, and somewhere, especially on the super speedways, we tend to see bunches that are much tighter than they are here, just due to the nature of the course itself. But tonight the chess match is indeed on, and it's one that requires full concentration here. That's Paul Gosling on Hendrik de Graave in the 87. Gosling on the low side. De Graave quickly in, but I think a little too quickly as well. Does he manage to hold on there? He's holding on the outside, and he gets past. Gosling with a bit of a squiggly moment as well. And they're all still rolling along. Look like here it's Adam Wright who tries to get the run on Greaterix.
Oh, these two have been fighting this entire night now. They haven't stopped it yet. Look at this. Gonna be a little bit of contact here, maybe. Barely as they exit the last turn.
If going
fast though.
Yeah, gets past around the outside, so it's worked for him before. It works for Adam Wright again. And the pendulum seems to swing back and forth between the two, and just how the pace is in the car. I still have a sneaking suspicion that Matty Sufi's able to go a little bit quicker than he's doing right now. And he's sort of just trying to hold position the best of his abilities. And Tusting, Roots, Hall, Tyler, and Behaid on the next cars. It was a brilliant move from Adam Wright. Gains second place. But the nature of a track like this, you wouldn't put it past anything to have late caution periods as well, especially when it really begins to count with the overtakes. And that's where it all really can become complicated as well. So look out for that. Look out for the strategic implications that it could have as well towards the end of the race. Oh, look at this bunch here with De Graave, Gosling, Hebra, and leaving up the Beek. They're all pretty close to both Michael Tyler and Kim Behaid as well up ahead. They've got Stuart Musselwhite on the tail of it. He's been involved in an incident, but seemingly okay with his car, Marcus. I think this is one of the tracks where you can run a car that has just a slight bit of damage without really suffering all as much as you would say at Talladega?
Yes and no. I think if you want to get away with running with damage, I think you have to go to a much shorter track, like for example Martinsville or Bristol, or the really short tracks with low average speeds. Even though this is a shorter track than some of the more traditional NASCAR tracks that we're going on, it's still important to have a car which is in shape to get full advantage of these straightaways, because the average speed here is quite high, even though the track is a little technical.
That's a good point. And it's a deceptive nature of the track as well. When you look at it, first you might think, that looks fast on the map. And when you try to drive it, you feel like that's not fast at all. But then when you get into it, it actually is faster, at least than the real short tracks, which are, of course, coming up. And that's something actually that I'd like to mention upon. Next week, of course, is our first SRW NASCAR visit to Bristol. A legendary place indeed. So
The last great Coliseum.
think of what we see tonight and amplify that tenfold. That's what we're gonna get next week at Bristol. Really around to look forward to something very, very special. And the definitive short track, dare I say. Here is Seb Herbera, who got caught out by his green flag pit stop and subsequent spin. He made contact with the car coming out of the pits. I actually don't remember who it was that he touched, but it was barely a graze. Oh, there's a caution out. You have to wonder, I think it's John Barnes.
Oh, I think it is, yeah.
John Barnes from the lead.
And he hit the wall then after. Oh no! Someone's crashed in front of him. That's a 37 of Max Spooner that's gone into the wall beforehand and then smashed into our leader.
So let's see what happened here. Max Spooner who loses it all on his own. John Tusting. And Tusting can do absolutely nothing at all. He just gets pipped. Let's see, does the rest of the leaders get past? That's the question. I think they do.
I think it's about time for Max Spooner to park it. Nothing personal against Spooner, but that's his third incident now on this track by himself. And now he's taking out the leader as well. And I would say it's pretty unfair. That's not usually what you see in Motorsport, even though everything can happen. That's gone right over John Barnes and his... I'm not sure what his chances are now for an overall victory. We'll have to see. Look, he's hit the apron there at the seam. And it's just unsettled the car completely and right in front of our leader, and that's going to be our fourth caution, I think, for tonight.
Yeah, very much so.
Rightfully pissed off is if that's what he's at right now. He's in the pits as well.
Yeah. Wonder if he's called it a day. It might be he's in for a few repairs.
Yeah, he needs to get out now, though, because the pace car is about to catch him. So if he can beat the pace car, he's going to be able to stay out another lap. And I think he's stuck here. So I think that might be race over then for John Barnes. At least his chance for an overall victory. So Adam Wright as well. I think he got some damage from that. He's in the pits, taking 4 tires. And that leaves us with the new race leader, which is it's still going to be good for Quantum Racing, as they have their own drivers up in the 1 and 2 spot now. John Tusting taking over Austin Gutorix, while Austin Gutorix overtakes the lead from John Barnes, who unfortunately got hit by the ET and Brit car of Max Spooner. I'll have to say it's a bit of a dumb incident to have, to be quite honest. Not a place where you usually wreck your car. No. I think it's so unfair in terms of John Barnes has done this race perfectly so far.
It's going to be interesting to see how the strategy pans out now. We have a bit of a split between some of the leaders. We've had Adam Wright, Sufi, Roots, Gosling, etc. All of the drivers at the lower end of the field at the moment having been in twice, while the leading 5 drivers have yet to take their second pit stop. They might be playing on it to go to caution again relatively soon. We've had a wave of cautions here mid-race, which is a bit of a shame to see. Of course, it does make it drag out ever so slightly. We've been racing for about 48, so about 50 minutes. So, of course, we do have a 2-hour time limit. And we're at the halfway marker of the race. We're coming on to it as we're coming on to the 85th lap. We go around. I think this time around the lights are going to go off on the pace car. Going to give us the indication that at the end of said given lap, indeed, are going to go green yet again for what I believe, what is it, the 4th or 5th time now? Marcus,
Fourth.
I don't, 4th time indeed, thank you.
Or 5th time if you take the start into account.
Yeah, indeed, we've had 4 caution periods, so a 4th restart after caution. Of course, we do have Marcus to take us through.
Switching it up a little bit now. New leader for this race. And with the fantasy pace car taking this field out to the last corner for this last restart. Hopefully, I'm saying last restart. I probably jinxed it already. It's just a matter of time before we get this field going green again. We see Austin now holding back the field a little bit more than his teammate did. And he's going to wait a little longer, I think. And here's the restart zone, and he's going. And the marshals has put up the green flag again, which is a calm start now for the field. You see John Tusting challenge for second place. James Hall up now into the bottom split there. Look at Adam Wright, though, taking us 3 wide after under caution again with Simon Venus and East Frederick out in the opening stages here.
That was
a little
quick,
caution
I'm
then on the
afraid.
restart. Yeah, look at this. It's just turned right into him. What is that for? That look. We could get that again. Don't want to make any assumptions already. His car is upside down now, so that's going to be race over for Simon Venus. And he's still on track. And Simon, the track goes to the left here, not to the right. He's just taking out Yves Frederick then. So perhaps unhappy with the Belgian.
Yeah, we're just gonna...
I can't see the steering wheel here, but
No, I can't
surely...
either. Which is gonna leave us guessing, at least for now, as to what happened in that situation. I'm gonna agree with you, that did not look good at all.
I think Ian Roos is going to have a few conversations after this race. He jumped into the pits at the end, though. That did not look healthy. So I'm wondering what the reaction is going to be from that.
But it could be
Ian...
that because you also got to give it to him that he was in a situation where, well, he basically went straight, and he went dead straight in that situation. He went on the brakes, seemingly trying to slow down, but I'm not quite sure he was able to steer, so we might just have to give him the benefit of doubt.
Yeah.
Of course, until we get confirmation of anything else.
I'm actually going to go off sleigh mode for a little bit, which is a function we use in terms of us commentators using this program here, as we see Rhetorics just faking his pit entry. I'm going to have a look at this again, this move here from Simon Venus, because it looks very... It's an odd incident to have. And I wonder if something's happened with Venus. No, he's turning his wheel to the right here, Hasse.
Oh, well, that
against
is
the 197 here.
and that is pretty unambiguous, I'm afraid. So I was hoping for it to be an issue, a hardware issue as well, but that's one that's gonna be left to the stewards, and obviously not trial by internet, as it would be by us here. And that was something we don't want to see at all, especially when it upsets the race and gets
Everyone under new caution as well. It's
yes,
a bit of
indeed.
something to do.
Indeed, and it does give us sort of a dull period as well in the race here where really breaks up the flow of racing for a relatively prolonged amount of time. This time, we're gonna get it rolling again from the 5th caution period so far this race. Let's see if it's gonna go any better. As I said before, we're just about the halfway point of the race at this moment. And, yeah, we're gonna have to see.
All we know is that Simon Beatus is going to have a little bit of explanation to do after this race. And a good comment here by Bart Delman, who says that might be series over then. Because Ian is not really appreciate over people intentionally wrecking in his series, and that's going to be... yeah, there's going to be a launched investigation for sure. I'm not going to speculate further into what's going to happen next, but that did look very intentional, so we'll see what happens and what the reaction might be. Hasse, the restart is about to go live, and you're going to take us through it again.
Yeah, we're going to go back to Boogity in a short moment's time. Here is Greater X yet again. Is the man in control, and he goes early, just Tusting, I was about to say, is following him, but hardly even Tusting left behind. And instead, it's Kimby Haight of Flemish Simsport in the 86 around the outside of the 68. And again, Adam Wright wanting to get involved from the get-go. Very much immediate action here. Look at Sufi wanting him to follow as well. And the 64 is going to go the high side around the 68 as well. Here Ian Roots is wanting to follow on as James Hall is getting swamped indeed. Now the Grabe with a bit of scratches here on his outside out ahead there. That's Behate and Adam Wright is true as well. And he is a man on a mission at the moment for BSTV Sports. Understandably so, he's shown the pace all the way throughout. Let's see if we can get the race sort of settled into a rhythm. Now, of course, what upsets everything at this moment as well is the fact that we had a bit of shuffling around in the field after some of the pit stop rounds. We've had a bit of changing up of strategies. And for the first time, means that some drivers are gonna be experiencing a lot more wear than others. And Roots diving left and right here, trying to send it.
Oh, pushed a little wide there as well.
Yeah, but I think he's gonna get a good run on Behate. Oh, they touch! Oh, and Behate gets a bit of a scratch there. Oh, that's how we like to see it. Taking no prisoners, Ian Roots there, and he's pushing a little bit too wide as well in that situation. That might be contact, and they're gonna go 3 wide here, I think, unless they show some restraint there. Roots closing the door, trying to squeeze down Hendrik de Grave as they're switching positions back and forth in this situation as well. Up ahead, there's a bit of a change as well, but it's still Gretorix, Wright, and Tusting. So I think Adam Wright has made it up into 2nd place as well, and a whole lot of action here on the restart, Marcus.
Yeah, that's that's a good observation. As you see here, Adam Wright has made his way up through these paces here, and that's going to force Austin to take the high line here. Wanted to come in late, and he is a man on the mission for sure here. Adam Wright. Unfortunately, we have some good racing here on the top of the pack after what happened with the last caution, and it brings out the contrast of what racing should be like. Hard racing in Roots as well, showing us that you can have a bit of contact without it having to result in a ruined race for someone as well. Seb Herber as well had a little bit of an unlucky moment and caused the caution after getting out on colder and fresher tires. He's up here again trying to make the best of it in the 9th place. As we now switch over to Matteo Sophie, while Austin Gretorix is struggling now with his tires. Didn't come in the last pit stops. Now we're seeing the huge distances in fresh tires and used tires. And Matteo now with the fresh tires is not challenging, but just running away. But this is what's concerning maybe for the 2 runners now, Adam Wright and Matteo Sophie, as they go out here with the quickest pace overall. They used another set of tires. So if you get a green-white checkered now at the end of this, they might be 1 set of tires short from having the advantage on the last restart that we might get. Because we've had a lot of cautions tonight, Hasse, and there might be more.
Could be more indeed. 70 laps left of this race at the moment. on lap 100. And I have a feeling that we're gonna have a period of somewhat more prolonged racing. Not if they do it like this, though. Oh my word!
Oh, it's got the inside though. Is that kind of stick?
I'm not quite sure. You can see Ian Root's really sliding it about there. He's being as aggressive as I've ever seen him in one of these races. It's quite impressive. That was
69 laps to go now as well.
Yeah, good point. Now, let's just have a second look at just what happened there. As Tusting kind of cuts off Paul Gosling. They all go 3 wide through there. As, that's Paul Gosling who gets sort of pushed up there by Ian Roots. And Roots surely hammering forward here at the moment. Great.
The Quantum guys has obviously had a conversation about this because they're the only ones that haven't gone in and put new tires on. The rest of the field has that second set of tires. And this could be an advantage for them in the later stages of this race. Let's say we get a late caution now and everyone else doesn't have that last set. So I think tire-wise, they have the advantage now over the field, but they can't lose too much tire now over the rest of the field by staying out as long as they do.
That's true. You can see Hendrik de Grave, who's now coming onto the tail of Torix as well, who I think at least right now is suffering from having tires that are quite a lot worse than everybody else's tires. See, because Torix was in on lap 54. The rest of the field basically having pit on lap 83. And you can really see the difference. Torres has lost a few seconds to the leader, Adam Wright. He's looking very, very good. Sufi now second. There is the battle for third place with De Grave, and now Paul Gosling getting involved as well. Mind you, he comes from basically all the way the back of the grid. He's gone up 10 places to sit 5th at the moment in the number 5 car. And you cannot discount Paul Gosling. Hailing Island, he could very, very well be in there in the mix at the end of this race. As he's gonna go past on De Grave here, I think. So De Grave is gonna sneak back past on the outside there at the end of the corner. That was rather elegant. And that's what the high line can do for you, I think. Although that might have been a bit too high in that situation. I think he's going to be open for attacks. Going to be round 2 here, Marcus.
Oh, he's wide here, very wide. Oh, but it gets the exit though. So he's trying to, by the looks of it, figure out a different line he can run throughout this racetrack now and get some more performance out of his tires. And he has pitted now with a new set. Wonder who's going to get the longest straw out of this battle here. We have another driver who's joining in, and that's Seb Herbert. Getting the bottom line now, the 87. And that's going to advantage him. I think he's going to block the run now from the 5. Oh, almost got into the wall there a little bit, the 87. So he's pushing as hard as he can now. This is not him managing or trying to stay put or anything. This is the 87 now pushing for all it's worth to try and stay in front of these two guys. Meanwhile, leaving off the back as well against Kim Behit, which is a much calmer fight to look at now.
See Behit running that same line as De Grave was trying, so the smooth outside line as well. The high line, trying to conserve the tires. Hendrik de Grave from Tielt and Flanders. Of course, it wouldn't be an SRW NASCAR broadcast without the cycling references, so here we go. But indeed, Flanders, who yesterday hosted, or the last week or so, has hosted the UCI Road World Championships. Gave us an excellent race, though not a Flemish world champion in the form or name of Wout van Aert, but double world championship for Julien Alaphilippe, French But what one of the best bike races I've seen in a very, very, very long time. Just had to mention that. Back to the motor racing here indeed. Oh, that battle in behind Markus is really heating up here. That's Rømer passing Gosling, and that might open the door here for Ian Roots as well.
Having a look at his inside quarter panel here with the 5. Ooh, that's a late lunge, and he's going to make it stick. The 5 giving space now to Ian Roots. That's Paul Gosling then, who's checked up on the high line. You can see this is the differences in the narrow and shallow line and the wide line. Where when you do the shallow line, you get a shorter corner, but you lose speed. So Ian now getting a little bit of a wider line. Now he's going to have a little bit of a longer corner, but with a higher top speed exiting. So that's why you see some drivers trying to overtake on the outside. They'll try and get that advantage of the outside. Oh, we get a little bit of a touch here between the 194 and 87. But yeah, this is why you'll see cars shooting up close to each other after exiting on the outside, because there's a bit of an advantage or change of tactics in a race like this, as there's a touch there between these two as well. Both in the wall there almost, as they're about to lap East Frederick as well.
Jesus. Was that Gosling? Gonna see if we can recall pictures of whatever happened there. There you have it. Oh, it's the touch, and then another touch.
Yeah, got him on the inside or coming into the corner. And there's barely another touch there between Gosling and Ian Roots.
Gotta say, well played from both of them to keep it under control. That was it could have had much bigger implications than what it ended up being. Rømer is now gaining on Gretorix, and he's about to be on the tail and within striking distance. Mind you, still a lot fresher tires now onto lap 115. And there, Gretorix goes in on the green flag, which surely he must have been wanting not to do at the end. But coming in to do so anyways here, we're going to see how that plays out for him in the end.
Yeah, but that's going to be enough for him to now finish this race on that set of tires, isn't it? So he's going to have one left to spare. And if there's another caution now, surely the rest of the field's going to go in and pit, because Austin's going to have the biggest advantage. And now as well, it's going to be the first car to get a wave around, or a lucky dog, if there's another caution, which is not unlikely. His teammate as well, John Barnes, is out on track again after his contact with a back marker earlier. I think that was Max Spooner as well, cause that incident with John Barnes, our previous leader, as Austin Gretorix gets back out on track. Gets passed by his teammate John Tusting, which has yet to pit. Adam Wright in picture now. Took tires on the last caution and is now leading this race in front of Matteo Soffi. And there's quite a big distance between the two drivers there actually as well. Well, we see one of the second Flemish Team Sport cars out and about, chasing down the Quantum Racing John Tusting. And he's passed there a little bit for a second. And is it going to stick? Tusting has the outside, but Kim Beheer has the... actually, he's on all tires as well, so this is a fight for track position with equal equipment, which is cool to see.
Yeah, Behate's on very, very worn rubber. I wonder if it doesn't make sense for him to come in.
Gretorix as well, back on the lead lap. So we'll look at these lap times now from...
Not quite, I'm afraid, though. Just
barely.
Yeah, he's down a lap on the top 6 at the moment.
Yeah.
Of course, the first one to receive the lucky dog in the event that we would go to a caution.
Let's compare lap times now, because Adam Wright is doing 28.7s, with the rest of the field's following tight with the same second. While now Austin is really putting up the pace with 27.4s. And I wonder if that's... Oh, I actually put up the fastest lap time of his race as well. 27.3, that lap time. And wonder how this is going to work in his favor. His off strategy now with tires. And if a caution comes out, he's going to be singled out to the front. If that happens, is he going to go in and pit and take a new set of tires, or is he going to stay out on that set of tires and regain the lead and then have a little disadvantage on the start, but then again have that spare set of tires for the maybe a greenway checker if that comes?
It's a good question. I don't have the answer to it. Oh,
because
slidey moment there as well for the 13. That's Gretorix unlapping himself.
Yeah, he has the tire advantage now over everyone else. Him and John Tustin. Tustin hasn't got in yet, and the same with Kim Bahit, who's yet to pit.
Yeah, Michael Tyler and James Hall
as well.
Yeah.
So we have a few drivers now with one spare set of tires, while the rest of them is going to have to, in the next caution, have to pit, and they're going to be out of tires for the rest of the race. Curious to see how this plays out, but I think maybe that off strategy is not really going to win him the race. I think now, as we're in the much cooler phase of the race, I think this is going to be advantage Adam Wright as of now. We'll have to see how that changes after when we get closer to the race end.
Yeah, mind you, Adam Wright's tire is about 40 laps old. At this point, they had 30 more laps in him, the set of tires that Austin was on before. So whether it's going to swing in the other, well, in one direction or the other, we're going to have to see. But judging from how it looks right now, with the dogs being a lap down on the 3 leader still, although he is lapping a second faster than the front cars did. Yeah, on his last lap as well, 27.78. That is exactly 1 second quicker than Adam Wright per lap at the moment, which means that would take him about 30 laps or so to catch up to Adam Wright. Of course, Adam Wright's gonna have to take a pit stop as well, so would everyone else at the top end of affairs. Coming into the final 40 laps, this is what I would maybe call the pre-finale, where the final tactical moves, the final strategic calls are being made to see if you can do something differently, something extra. Give yourself that advantage coming into the final bit of the race.
But if these guys want to gamble on a green flag stint to the end, what maybe Matteo could do now is that he could go in early and get an undercut and put out new, fresh set of tires. And if he can get a few lap times now on him, he's going to gap Adam Wright. And I'm curious to see how it plays out. I don't really have any good ideas about what's going to happen for this race. I don't know who's going to win it either, but right now I think Adam Wright is in the strongest position, while Austin, if he keeps his pace up, is definitely going to be set for a podium. We can see now, I think Austin is starting to take out the best of his tires. He's up and running the 28 lap times again now. So we have a very close call here at the exit of turn 3.
Absolutely so. That was up the big, trying to get in on De Grave, but not quite managing it. Although very, very close indeed in the battle for 6th place. Quite the difference in lines between the two. 4th, 5th, that's Ian Roots and Paul Gosling. Still going at it as well. Sufi just 0.8 of a second down as well on Adam Wright, and currently lapping a fair bit quicker. 0.3 of a second did he gain on his last lap. Same is the case for Seb Herbera. Gretorix has gone past on James Hall, who's in the pits. Past Michael Tyler right there as well. Last lap there, Gretorix 28.27. Still gaining a fair bit of time on the leaders, although it's not as much as it was before. Although one thing he's managed to do is to unlap himself. So obviously it's going to cost him a bit of time as well, having to pass people and pass cars like he's done. And we're going to see how it plays out for Austin Gretorix there.
He's fast though, isn't he?
Yeah, he is indeed. He's on the lead lap.
No, I'm thinking about the Matteo right now. He's fast
Oh
now.
yeah, he's on the inside and actually passed that Adam.
Oh, slide job!
Just about managing to avoid the big one.
That was a dirt racer move right there. Put him in. It's almost like Matteo's done some dirt sprint car racing with that move. Look at it. Sends it late into turn 3. He's got a back marker in front of him. That's 96 of Michael Tyler, sorry. And he sends it into turn 3 all the way under the line and slide jobs it right in front of the 27. And that's a move you usually see in dirt sprint car racing and dirt late model racing, not on pavement in NASCAR at SRW TV NASCAR. And we see Adam Wright's got some real problems there. There's a little bit of a contact between him and Seb Herber as well. Adam Wright now losing tons of spots. So something's happened now to the British driver.
Oh, did he touch that wall there? Might as well have been, or could just be the tires for Adam Wright that are really beginning to go.
He's dropped on lap times right now.
He's coming into the pits as well, yeah.
Yeah, this is the last set of tires for Adam Wright, so he's going to be set now for... If there's another caution, he's going to have to stay out regardless of what happens.
Interesting one to check up on. And the fact that Adam Wright is taking this pit stop at a time where, for instance, Austin Gretorix is still looking fairly good for himself.
John Testing still hasn't taken that second set of tires. He's still racing on the track here. So he's managed to outlast Adam Wright's second set of tires.
Testing, who's been out for
way too long.
over 85 laps now, as it seems to be. Not quite. But over 80 laps indeed, which is still a long time and a lot of corners to take for a set of tires. Indeed, here we see Adam Wright, I'm sorry, joining.
Seb Herber and Matteo Sofi as well has responded to his pitting, so they're going in now, trying to overcut him.
Now we're going
Because what they know is that if they stay out, they're going to start losing track time to Adam Wright, who's gone in early.
And that's the pit stop done with. So Sophie Herber rejoining now. Where is Adam Wright going to be? He's right there. Oh.
But I wonder if this wasn't a little bit premature now for these guys, because they had pace over Adam Wright for a long time. They could have stretched that set of tires even further. And I think that's a little bit too early. And Seb as well, still struggling on fresh tires here coming out in turn 3.
Yeah, having to heat up the tires. That's causing him a bit of issues. We've seen it before. A very nice recovery, by the way, from Herber. Now we've got Paul Gosling coming into the pits, and look where that's going to leave Austin Gretorix back in the lead of the race. But now being the driver on the older tires, the pendulum swings in the direction of basically everybody else here. Stuart Musselwhite up into second. Oh, and I'm sorry, I thought I saw something happening. But that wasn't quite the case, and luckily so.
I think the gap now is massive between Austin and Matteo. A few seconds, actually. That's massive on this track. I think he has half a lap advantage now on the rest of the field in the lead.
He also has tires that are 20 laps older than the ones Sophie is sitting on, and he could, of course, say that do they come to a caution period? Well, it'll be advantage Gretorix.
Yeah, I think if there's going to be another yellow here, maybe this is actually going to be what's going to ruin his race for him, because if everyone stays out, he's going to be the only one coming in and pitting and putting on new fresh set of tires. He's going to have to outrun basically 10-15 cars just to try and get it to the front.
True indeed, 30 laps remaining here at Phoenix. It's been quite the race, as it's been ebbing back and forth between the highs and lows so far.
Problem for Gosling, I think.
Problem for Gosling, who's lost 2 positions as well. Yeah, that's true. Wonder just what that's all about. He's gonna be in the pits here or what? Something? Oh, there he is on
look
the
at the
outside.
Yeah, somebody stopped there. That was the fire, wasn't it?
That was Gosling. So,
Look at his race.
and I heard
somebody blew an
something.
engine.
Oh!
Did he not?
Oh,
get
he's
it out of
crabbing
gear,
her.
or-
Is he? No? Not
Who's that who
crabbing.
blew an engine? I think leaving up the bake is out of this race. Something is not right with Gosling's car, who was shortly in the lead for a second.
I don't think that was up the beak, because he seems to have been in the pit for quite some time now.
Yeah, I'm just curious what happened to Gosling. He was just stranded in. He's lucky that didn't become a caution. That could have quickly become maybe the last caution of the night.
Yeah. Musselwhite gives up the places, realizing that he's on way older tires. Everybody else in that three-way struggle, that fight that's currently going on for second place, but that gap was 14 seconds. Just a few laps ago, Marcus, from Sufi up to Greatorix, that's down to 9.2 seconds now.
It's
And
exactly
the
a
cars
second quicker than Austin on
exactly.
each lap as well.
So that's going to be within what, 4.5 minutes, less than 5 minutes. They're going to close that gap to the leader. We're going to have a new situation. 26 laps remaining, which is going to equate to about 13 minutes of racing. So it all comes down to whether we're going to have a late caution or not here at Phoenix, because a late caution would, in my opinion at least, send the ball rolling in the direction of Austin Greatorix. I realize I've probably been saying that differently throughout the night, but I'm still struggling to come to terms. Please, Austin, get at us so we can get that cleared up once and for all. But that said, a late caution for Austin at this point would allow him to come in, take tires, and be quicker than everybody else for the final bit of the race. But if we stay green, do you think the advantage is going to fall off for the rest of the runners here? The tires do seem to settle in and then kind of stay at that level for some time. So we could see the advantage kind of etching off for these drivers as we come closer to the end of the race, and it might just be an all-out fight for the end. What do you think there, Marcus?
We're already seeing drop-off now from Matteo and Seb Herber. You can see now 27.9 on the last lap time, 28.5 on Austin. So they're going to equalize. I think if this keeps or stays under green for the rest of this race, which I don't think it's going to be, I think Austin has the best advantage right now. Not on tires, but on distance between himself and Matteo. We'll just have to wait to see, I guess. There's no reason to speculate on what we'll get an answer on in about 22 laps. Anyways, Hasse, is it?
There's always reason to speculate when you're a commentator. It's all you do, for God's sake. So if we can't speculate, we don't have much to do here anyways. Now Adam Wright's getting very close to the end of Seb Herber's car, and I'm speculating that he might be wanting to overtake him shortly. We are within the final 25 laps, which is usually what I call the final bit. This where it really heats up and where positions isn't something you take tactically or strategically. Now it's a race for the line, basically. So any position you could gain at this stage of the race is worth gaining. The gap between Greatorix here and Sufi is down to 5.3 seconds. It's sitting still from Sufi, Herber right, and then another 10 seconds down to Ian Roots.
This could be for the race win as well, this fight here between these three. I mean, Matteo Sophie and Sebastian Herber and Adam Wright.
Yeah, that it could absolutely be. Very true. Oh, Adam Wright going a little too aggressively, I think. You've turned into the perfect time swap, though. Like watching a sprint stage in the Tour de France where you turn on for the final 20Ks. Just the final 20 laps is where everything is about to get decided. And the gap is diminishing quickly here, Marcus. Sufi gaining. It's down to 4 seconds. It's not gonna last long enough for Greatorex. And I think unless he's managed to really save his tires well and have an extra gear when these catch up to him, it's gonna be a sitting duck when he gets company from the Simracersworld car and the 27 of Adam Wright.
Their tires are falling off every single lap, though. And I think you're right. With Austin, he's going to have an awful tire advantage here, or tire disadvantage. He's a tough racer, so we'll see if he can keep these guys off him and if he can take the bottom line away from them and halt the move from the outside lane. He might have this with 18 laps to go.
I think
Evan about to try and pass him as well, and he is on fresh tires too. So this is maybe what we're looking at for the race win. We can have a preview here with the 87 and the 86. Look at them, they're catching. They're almost in the same corner now, hasn't?
Yeah, 2.6 seconds, so it's really coming in down quickly, much quicker than I'm sure.
Oh, he's put up the pace, 28.6 now. 28.7 or 28.8, I mean. So something's happened. He was really, really quick on the last lap, but now he's fallen off a little bit again. Maybe because of this fight here with the 87.
Yeah.
But look at this buffer that he has now to the 64 of Matteo. He's got 3 cars here, which is a lap down, which is trying to edge his way through and get past our leader.
Yeah, but you wonder if that's going to slow him down. Having cars wanting to come through.
Not sure if this is going to help at all in any ways. I think Austin, if he wants to win this race, he should just let him go and race his own race, get his own pace down here. Because these guys are all halting the pace and just making life a lot more difficult for Austin. While also the 87 and 86 are too respectful, I think. And trying to not wreck our leader here, trying to get past her. They have a race to race as well, and I think they have all reason to try and get past our leader as well now and be a little bit more aggressive with him. Look at them, they're trying every single way. They're too wide throughout the corners now trying to get past our leader.
Looking to be a great night for SRW Esports Team Bravo. Currently sitting second and third. That's going to be a massive haul in the team standings. Should this be the end result? But I think they're looking for more indeed. Markus, it's down to 1.4 seconds. And Sufi can basically smell the exhaust fumes of the car of Paul Gosling, the 2 Flemish cars, and then the quantum machine of leader Austin Greatorex. Ian Root still about 12 seconds off of this struggle, so he's not going to be in with a shout. It's going to be within the lead 4 drivers at the moment to take the win here of the SRW Simmortal Phoenix 170. So I'm trying to remember where we are. Amidst all the actions is really happening quickly now, as they are going to be making the pass here on Paul Gosling.
Just let him by.
Yeah.
And that's something they might do with, or the 86 and the 87 might do that with the 64 as well. They're not entitled to do that with NASCAR rules, but they can do that. That's really going to put the nail in the coffin, I think, for the 13th win. Oh, underneath him now, the 86.
Not gonna be, he's not gonna be happy here. And it's Behate who wants to get past. Behate has the fresher tires, goes into the gap here. He's gonna go past. Oh, as they almost touch.
Oh, they're crashing. They're crashing. He's out.
And the caution is out. But it's because Greatorex and Kim Behate after lap after lap after lap running. Behate wanted to get past and he didn't let him. And that's caused the caution section here at what, 10 laps, 12 laps to go of the race. There you have it again. Major moment in this race.
So the man who gambled on being ready for the last caution ended up being the last caution instead. And I was going to say before this happened here, Hasse, that Austin is mirror driving coming into the first turn here. He's trying to take away the line, and he comes in too late, and they touch a little bit, and he gets an awful exit, and they meet in the middle. And I'm not sure who's to blame for this incident, but naturally the 13 is probably going to be the most upset over this, since he's going to lose every chance of a race victory tonight.
That's 2 quantum cars haven't been taken out from the race lead by a backmarker, basically. But a very different situation, though, because I think you can only argue that Kim Behate did have his case as well.
There's going to be a few talks, I think, after this race.
Oh, there certainly is. There certainly is. We're going to leave that. We're
And
gonna
this isn't
leave.
even this isn't even a short track here, Hasse.
Oh, how's it gonna
Just
be
wonder
at
how it's
Bristol?
gonna- yeah, I was just gonna say, how's this gonna be at Bristol?
A very good question indeed. Well, join us in a week's time to find out. It's been eventful, to say the very least here. Looks to me we're gonna have something in the vicinity of 8 laps left of racing. Mark's still in the pits. He just got the tires, so I think he's actually looking to get out in a position where he can maybe still pick up some points at the end of this race. That's of course given that he doesn't have too much damage. But by the way, a new race situation yet again here. Sufi leads Hebra, and Adam Wright, Ian Roots, Hendrik de Grave, and Paul Gosling. A few cars are going to get the wave around here as well. They're going to get stuck behind. We're on lap 61. Going on to 62. We're going to get the race back running on lap 163, I believe.
I just wonder what's going to happen now with the 13. He has one spare set of tires. He's gone in and pitted and he's put that on, I think. And I don't think he might be out of this yet. He's got a huge damage on the rear end of that car, though. He might be able to sprint through this. Just enough laps, maybe, for him to complete this. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see where he's able to do so as well. He'll be rejoining in what, 6th place. So really not too far down. This is where we're gonna see if it's gonna be able to possible to be competitive in a car with that
is he
sort
gonna
of
go
damage.
up there and say a little hello to the 86? No, it's not. Okay, I thought that for a second. It would have been very NASCAR of this series to have that situation occur again. Obviously, with that Simon Beanis incident earlier in the race. A little bit of a red mist going on as well. I think there's going to be a lot of feelings after this race for sure. The lights now off on the pace car. The 87 of Hedvig de Graaf, our championship leader, got a wave around on that last lap, the lucky dog, and he's now going to race side by side with the man who was challenging for the lead lap, or trying to get back on the lead lap. But this is looking very good for us, and I have to say, unless his car is too damaged to take full advantage of that aero pack.
But the tire advantage for him has to be said. I don't know how his car is to drive. I think if it drives okay, if he's comfortable with it and confident, he could get something out of this in the end. His tires are brand fresh and have, what, 25 laps less on them? We could see that was worth a second in itself, but not for long. So, but of course, we don't have the time really for Greatorex to flood it. Anyways, we're gonna get back to green here. It's Sufi going to lead him on here, and here he goes. And it's a brand run. Look at the run from Ian Roots on the outside, ahead of Ian Roots. Oh, Roots! Teammate collision.
What are you doing, Roots?
Ian Roots, Sepp Herbera, and that's a gift for Austin Greatorex, who's up into what is that 3rd place for Greatorex already.
Oh, look, he's struggling though with the arrows. Ian again using his front bumper for all it's worth.
Oh my
What
word!
what is Ian eating in this last restart here? This is still Phoenix, not Bristol here, Ian. Calm down a little bit, man. It's really showing though. We're in the last stages, the dying stages of this race here. Everyone trying to take full advantage of whatever they have left of this race. And look at Austin now, being the caution last time around. Caution again now.
Caution again!
For a reason. And he's up to P2 here, Hasse. So now he's put himself in the perfect position in order to lock this race out for the win. Oh, our championship leader.
Oh, he's just gone
there.
right across. You have to wonder if something happened before this caused the trouble for Hendrik.
Oh yeah, this is the touch. This is the touch between him and Ian.
Bonk. There it is. Yeah. That's offset him as he hit the apron. Goes down and then tries to keep it under control. Just manages to lose it.
He tried his best there. That's gonna be
absolutely. There's nothing to be said in that situation. 5 laps to go, which means that we're not yet into green-white checkered territory. We
Barely
won't be
there.
far from it, but look at Greaterix up into second place here. Adam Wright and Matty Sufi, well, they have cars without too many bumps on it. That one's missing a rear end. If he picks up a win here, it's going to be incredible indeed.
If this is what the cars are going to look like after this race, I just wonder how many cars they're going to have left at Bristol. They have Yves Frederick as well. I think he is still in this race. Maybe not. He was in this race for a long time with what was a quarter of a car left. I'm not sure we're going to have a lot of whole cars after Bristol.
No,
Speculating, of course.
That's what we do, as we just agreed upon not too long ago. Yeah, I think it's going to be a hefty one. It's going to be more than anything else a war of attrition. Mind you, after Bristol will be I think, is there a week before? Nope, there isn't. I was just about to say we're gonna work up, and that is gonna be a high point of the season for me as well, to watch these cars on a road track at Watkins Glen. It's gonna be grand indeed. Marcus, I think I might have been out too early there. We're gonna get another lap of pace car. 3 laps to go.
This might be not sure really what this is going to be. This might be the final shot here. If somebody wrecks now, that's going to be a green white checkered.
Yeah.
And if they get to the white flag, the next flag is going to end it. So naturally in iRacing, there's no yellow flags when the white flag is out. So if there's a white flag out, there's not going to be any more cautions. If somebody wrecks in front of you, that's basically for then that race. No position is going to get freezed. And it's basically first man to the flag. And I think we're going to get these guys 2 wide now for the last time tonight. Unless we have another situation here. And I think Austin is really shying himself as well from Matteo. And telling him that, yeah, here I am. I got the fresh set of tires on P2 now. And there we go. So the only thing Austin has to worry about now is to not pass the leader before the start-finish line. If he doesn't do that, I'm positive he's going to end up winning this race. If he does do that, that might be Matteo's chances. Look at the 87 as well up there saying hello to Ian Roots as well. A little bit of a little bit of a hello. Thank you for the last time. Remember now that I'm behind you. You might be the one getting forced up into the groove in turn 1. It's good to see. It's supposed to be a little bit of a rubbing its racing here, and a little bit of a contact sport NASCAR. And as long as they don't intentionally wreck, I don't see a problem with rubbing each other in the caution either.
Marcus, we're gonna go green in a moment for the final time, and it's gonna be an intense situation indeed. Take us through it, mate.
So for the last time tonight, hopefully Matteo Sofi takes the start here, and no problem from Austin. He's not going to pass the leader on the start-finish line, but look at Adam Wright on the inside here coming to turn 1.
Indeed, Adam Wright with a good run on Greaterix, but Greaterix with the fresh tires and the speed on the high line. He's going to defend that. He's going to make sure he stays ahead. And that's going to be impossible for Adam Wright to do anything against for now. At least you can see just the speed difference through the corners there for Greaterix as he's on the tail now of Matty Sufi. And we're going to go on to the final lap. Here is the white flag out. Is it going to be Sufi for the end of it? Is it going to be Greaterix? Greaterix goes immediately on the side. On the high side, Greaterix and the 13. They're side by side. The 64's on the low side, but I don't think he's going to do it.
It's got it, I think. Because he's going to have the outside now, and he's going to have advantage with the new tires. He's going to hang here at least. Oh, he's in front now. This is Austin's shot to win the 4th round in the SRW TV NASCAR Series. He's going to cross the line as number 1. Austin Greaterix, after that late race caution, wins with a fresh set of tires here. And that offset strategy, I didn't think it's going to work in the dire moments of the race. But here he is after that late race caution. And the 87 is running a foot after the 184 of Ian Roots. I thought that was going to get a little bit of a retaliation there, but no worries. And I think Austin is going to be very happy with his performance there as the 27 almost runs into the 86 coming onto pit road.
A win for Austin Gretorix and Quantum Racing, the 13 car, picks up a win finally. You gotta say, well deserved.
As well with the victory lap.
He had it all to do, and he did it as well at the final bits of the race here. So hats off and kudos. So let's see if we can just get the race results on screen. There it is. Austin Gretorix for Quantum Racing ahead of Maddie Sufi for SRW Esports Team Bravo, and Adam Wright takes the final podium spot, although there is no car. For PSTV Esports. Fourth is Seb Herbera. Fifth, Ian Roots. Sixth, Paul Gosling ahead of Hendrik de Grave and Kim Behait. John Tusting in ninth place ahead of Michael Tyler, James Hall, and leaving up the big 12th, Stuart Musselwhite 13th, then John Barnes, Eve Fredericks, Max Spooner, and Simon Benus.
And rightfully so, Austin is going to go here and burn some tires in front of the Arizona crowd while his teammate in the 777 watches him do so. And hopefully we'll have a conversation with Austin here in just a few seconds, and maybe we'll get a clarification on how he pronounces his last name as well.
Yeah, that would be a perfect timing, wouldn't it? As he's burning out the engine there, a lot of stuff to let out for Quantum as well, who seemingly lost it all twice and gained it all again here. Lost in Gretorix. It's either or the other. We'll figure out. Imagine it's a third way to say it and we haven't figured it out yet. That would be amazing, wouldn't it?
Oh yeah.
Brilliant race. Such a great final here, and now we're just waiting for the drivers to join in to the interview room. We've got one in, and it's Maddie Sufi, and he's here to have a word with Markus Gjesdal.
Welcome to the broadcast booth here, Matteo, and that was quite the race, and I think you're coming in here with a lowered head. That was almost your win. Can you take us through the last few laps here for us?
Yeah, well, I knew at the end it was going to be down to tires, man. This whole race was one big tire management race, and we only got 4 sets for the whole race. So yeah, Austin saved a good amount of tires there. He did a very long stint on his third set there, and when he collided with the Flemish guys, I think he had an issue there, and that brought out a caution. It was at the right time for him. The caution came out, so he still could use his last set of tires.
And how ironic is that he is the car that actually causes the caution and comes out here and wins the race?
Okay, yeah, I don't know if he caused it or if it was just an incident with one of the Flemish guys. I don't know what's happened. We'll have to look at the replay what happened there. But okay, in any case, that's NASCAR. I mean, it's you have to have some luck involved, man. It is what it is. I was in the lead in the final turn. I hoped I was going to be able to keep him, but I mean, with the fresher tires, the run he had on the outside was just too hard for me to counter there. There was nothing I could do at this. I was pretty. I mean, in the end, I'm pretty pleased with second place that I could keep Adam and Seb behind me, which were on a similar strategy. So yeah, a bit of luck to Austin, but I mean, great race for him. He saved his tires up to the end when he needed them, and yeah, good job on his side. I'm thinking big picture here. I'm in the run for this championship, so I'm taking pretty good points for the championship today. But obviously, man, a win would have been so much better. So it's a bit bittersweet.
From the man who interviews himself here with you, I'm left with almost no questions at all here to ask you for the remainder of this interview. But I have to say this race has been a race for attrition, I think, with John Barnes getting ripped out from the lead early on, and a few other things. And this isn't a short track. We acknowledged that, me and Hasse earlier, that this is a short track, but it isn't a short track as Bristol or Martinsville. But next week, a debut for the series, Bristol Motor Speedway, which is a much shorter track, much higher banking. It's nicknamed the last great Coliseum for a reason, and some of these drivers here are really, really hot on the pair. What do you think about your chances there? What do you think about having a car left in that race even?
Well, yeah, that will be the key. I think it will be a survival race. Even if you are not wrecking, it's really easy to get caught up in someone else's wreck there. So it will be heads down and stay focused and keeping out of trouble. It will be a long race. Let's hope there won't be too many cautions. But yeah, it will be survival of the fittest, and the one who manages his tires best at the end there. So yeah, looking forward to it.
Shame you lost the race win in the last lap here, Matthew, but thank you so much for coming into the booth, and congratulations with the second place spot in this race. It looked good for a long time, and hopefully your time will come already next week.
Yeah, thank you, man. Cheers.
And now, Hasse, I think it's time for you to drag in our next contender who's going to have a chat with you.
Yeah, indeed, that's going to be race winner Austin. First of all, question, Austin, after saying congratulations on that was a hefty win indeed, and a very, very beautiful race ending for you. But I gotta ask you, is it Greatorex or is it Greatorex? You gotta know.
Hello, Hasse, and hello, Markus. Hello, everyone else. It is Greatorex.
Greatorex.
So how you said it first, yes.
Thank you, perfect. So that said, that out of the way, we've been speaking about it the entire night, Markus and I, which is why I jumped to asking the question so quickly. Austin, what a perfect picture of how quickly things can change in NASCAR. When you had your incident relatively late in the race, that is, did you think you'd still be in with a shout for the end?
Honestly, no. Now, I know I had the extra set of tyres, as you can see. I saved a set. I went for a different strategy early on in the race. But I didn't know how badly my car was damaged, obviously, with the contact and then bouncing into the wall. So then when I was in the pits, I noticed my RPM were down, I think 20, 30 RPM, which obviously is never a good sign. And then when I come back out, I actually realised I was in 6th place on fresh tyres, so I thought I got nothing to lose.
And nothing to lose you had in the end, coming away with the win. It was a breathtaking race, and you also got to say that's at least what we felt in the booth, that Quantum got hard done by with both you and John Barnes being taken out from the race lead. So it's a poetic justice, I think, in the end, that you come away with the win. Congratulations, Austin, and thanks for joining us for a quick post-race talk. Is there anyone you'd like to give a thanks or a shout out to before we let you off and stuff?
Yeah, thank you very much to you guys as always for the broadcast. Everyone at Simracersworld, my Quantum teammates, and then obviously, as you said, very unfortunate for John Barnes getting taken out by an actual lapped car that was damaged. And just everybody that tunes in to watch, thank you very much.
Thanks to Austin as well for joining us in here. I hope we get the chance to have a chat in one of these following rounds as well.
Thank you very much, guys. Have a good evening.
That was Austin Greatorex. Huh? And finally, wasn't it? Or did I say it wrong now? Have I already forgot? I need to watch back the interview. Oh, too much has happened in the last half an hour or so, Markus. I'm losing my voice. Anyways, we've got Adam Wright, our third place finisher, in for tonight, and Markus is going to have a quick word with him as well.
Adam, you looked good throughout this race, and that fight in the opening stages with yourself and Austin looked very hefty on. And what was the tactics there in the opening laps? Was it to get in front and try and break away, or did you just want to try and ruin his pace there in the opening stages?
Not really. You can't really break away from it. Well, you can break away, but you're just going to get caught up in the caution. So I was literally just enjoying myself. I thought I've done loads of these races where you just try and be clever, hang out at the back, take your time, and it never pans out. So I just thought I'm going to go and have fun this time.
We were talking a little bit about tires in this race, and these tires they're pretty rubbery. You can use them for quite a long distance, and you can push them quite hard, but you can still overheat them quite a lot. And what was that like for you between yourself and Austin in that fight in the opening stages? Was it hard to keep the tires cool and stay on track?
I think between me and Austin, it ebbed and flowed a little bit. But every time I managed to get past Austin, I never had anything for John. I think he was just pacing himself, and as soon as I got past Austin, he would just pick up his pace a little bit. But to be honest, I think all those around me managed their tyres better than I did. But I was just pushing all race, to be fair. It was only at the last stint where I thought I might need to save something for the end. But yeah, it is a fun race, and it worked out well in the end.
It's great to hear from you, Adam, and certainly I think you'll have your chances in the latter stages of this season. It's going to be a long race season, and now next week Bristol. What are your thoughts on the last great Coliseum?
I sometimes go okay at Bristol. It can just be chaos, and I find I pick a lane and I stick to it. So we'll see how it goes, but I am liking these shorter tracks. It's a bit more fun to drive the car. We'll see how it goes.
Before we round off the interview, Adam, is there anyone you'd like to shoot a thanks to?
Yeah, just all the guys at BSTV Esports. You guys obviously for putting on a great broadcast, and Ian and the team for putting on a great league, really.
Good to hear from you, Adam, and great race tonight as well. And hopefully next week and the weeks in the future is going to give you better shots at victory. You're very close this time, but next time it might be Adam Wright who is on the top spot. Thank you so much for taking the time to us.
Cheers, guys.
That concludes the final of our interviews for tonight. Thank you, Markus. Brilliant stuff. And thank you all for tuning in with us tonight here on Simracersworld TV. It has been our absolute and utmost pleasure having you all along for the ride. And indeed, we also have to thank our sponsor, of course, Simmortal Models, for sponsoring this race tonight. Do check out their homepage. I think it's in the description. See the goodies they do make. Beautiful model cars. That's something to get the dream rolling off of kids and adults alike. With that said, thanks for joining us. My name is Hasse Rømer. I've been joined by Markus Gjesdal for an enthralling race here at Phoenix. And with that said, let's just take a glance at our schedule for the coming week. As we can see, Belcar up on Friday from VIR, the Virginia International Raceway. Markus, you're going to be heading in to that one with me as well. I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be great. We're going to have the Sunday Drivers MX5 on, well, you guessed it, Sunday. And come Monday, we'll be back, as we've mentioned several times this week, or this evening. But this evening, in a week's time, we're going to have more NASCAR from Bristol. Do join us for that. It's going to be one to watch. So until then, from Hasse Rømer and Markus Gjesdal, thanks for tuning in with us, and take care. Have fun. Bye-bye.
Goodbye.